have to kind of ask those kind of fan questions, really, when you're speaking, because I know you've also interviewed Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, and, we're talking about some of the absolute great. Serena
too. I actually spent the day with Serena at the Home Shopping Network, which was fabulous.
Tell me more.
Well, we did that, and then the next day I got to spend the day with Victoria Azarenka and actually hit with her. We went to spend the day with her. She was training, she was in South Florida. But so the Serena thing got set up, but the brief was essentially not to talk about tennis. So Serena designs her own clothes, her own bags, etc. And then she went to the Home Shopping Network, which is a bit like QVC, where you then go and sit on the set with somebody and then you sell everything. So you can see how many pieces of your items have been sold on the television. Yep. So we went to film this whole thing. We spent hours and hours with her. Jill Schmoller, her agent, was also there. And I remember Serena had her leg in a boot and she had it all diamond encrusted. It was very, very smart, very Serena-ish. And then, of course, we sat down with her for about an hour afterwards to have this fascinating interview about everything she did off the tennis court. And yeah, so it was just a lovely day. And then I remember the next day, I spent the day with Victoria Azarenka. I had lunch with her, had our nails done, got to hit with her. It was sort of surreal, but it was just so normal. I mean, what part of my life is not great, Dan? It was brilliant.
And has there been a moment or a person that's made you feel uncomfortable?
No. I will tell you one funny story, though. You brought up Tiger Woods. So I actually interviewed him for the first time over the satellite. So I was in the studio at CNN and I think he was on the golf course. Can't remember which tournament. But my receiver, an IFB that I was wearing in my ear to hear him, the battery went flat. So I'm interviewing Tiger Woods, not being able to hear him.
Oh, wow.
Live on a global TV show. This is awkward. And of course, they keep coming to me. So it's a little bit like you and I were talking a split screen, and then there'll be cover video. So as soon as the cover video, I was like pointing at my ear, trying to tell people I couldn't hear, but they didn't know what I was doing. I think they just thought I'd lost the plot. So I was looking at his lips to see when he stopped talking, and then I would ask my next question. Now, fortunately, this was before the whole golf club incident and all the women, because, he could have said, after one of these answers, Candy, I've got something to tell you. I've got this problem and blah, 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 blah. And I would have then, asked him about his third shot.
And how's your... Yeah, exactly.
So I just had these very generic questions. I thought I'm going to play it safe, but this was awkward, very awkward.
And a massive test of your professionalism.
I was trying not to panic.
Yeah, but that's... So is that a skill that you could attribute to your tennis? They put, those kind of, I guess, those moments, right? And, that's one of the things that comes through in this podcast loud and clear. It's like tennis is a vehicle that's setting us up for different things, and you can always link them together. Most memorable interview?
Roger Federer. I'm just a huge fan. Just absolutely love Roger. Sorry to say it. I know everybody feels the same way, but I've never had a bad interview with him. And I think it was after the US Open. So we got to interview him in the studio at the US Open after he won. I can't remember what year this was, unfortunately. And then, so we do a few questions after. And then the next day, he came into the CNN USA New York bureau and I met him there. And we had this just a most amazing chat. And I remember Mirka in the background. I think she wanted to go because he's been so long because they're doing the rounds. But he just gave me so much of his time. He knew my name. He didn't need to know that. That was fabulous. And then there was another one with Phil Mickelson after he won the Masters. And this was the greatest. So a friend of mine was a big golf fan. And he said the winner of the Masters chooses the menu for the next year. I didn't know that, but I now know that. And so I asked him at the end of the interview, so Phil, have you thought about the menu? And he goes, well, Candy. And he was another one brilliant at saying your name, which makes you feel 10 foot tall. Because why would they want to know your name? You're not relevant at all. But he said, Candy, I haven't really thought about it. And then he went into this unbelievable menu, and it lasted about 10 minutes of, how the collard greens would have this kind of sauce, and then he'd have this on the side, and then we'd have this to drink. It was just mind-blowing and fabulous. And so that one really sticks out. And of course, Federer. And then dancing with Novak. I'll bring that one up as my last one. Do you remember at the US Open when there was a fan who was kind of dancing, and then Novak at the end of his matches would start dancing?
Yeah.
So at
he
the end,
often does.
Yes,
he loves a dance.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think this was 2011 because he won it. I was there. So at the end of our little in-studio interview, I said, would you mind, dancing us out? So I've danced with Novak Djokovic, and then I'd sort of tossed back to the CNN studio, and then we were both doing a little jig.